Hello, it's Blue coming to you live from the Belgrade Fortress. And today we have a special treat for all of you Altered fans. I was lucky enough to do an interview with the top Afanas player of the first major Altered tournament in France, ExAlts Skycrier. I hope you all enjoy the video. Be sure to like and subscribe after you watch, and without any further delay, let's get to it. Today with us we have Skycrier, the top 8 of Faunus in the recent Altered event in France that had over 1,000 participants. First off, thanks for joining us today, and to start off, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everyone a bit about how you got into Altered.
Thanks a lot for having me. So as you've just heard, I'm Skycrier. Some of you may know me, and most of you probably don't. Well, I just saw some ad for Altered online, how the Kickstarter had like $7 million, and I just pretty much found out ExAlted app, downloaded it, and started playing. And that's how it started. And then I actually, most of the people who know me from the Exalts League that I played online. So it was pretty much an online league for anyone to sign up, and I played in multiple of these leagues. I won one of them, and then the winners of these leagues were invited to the Exalt Championship, which was like a tournament for winners of the leagues, and I managed to win this as well. So that's kind of how people started to know me, and I also was mostly known for playing Afanas in these online leagues. Even before like all the cards came out, well, we only had a fraction of the card pool. So now I'm also playing Afanas, it seems, with in real life tournaments with real cards. So yeah, that's how I got into Altered. I'm now also a member of the Exalts team. That's the team that actually like hosted these online tournaments. So actually before this, created a small team of my own. Me and one of my friends, Iswark, we and a third friend of ours, Koma, we created this small team called the Covenant. And then later on, after all of these online leagues and everything finished, we were asked to join the Exalts, and we decided to do it because we figured out, like, why not? It's a bigger family, more people to train with, play with, talk about Altered. So so that's it. And I was, as you said, in this biggest tournament so far of Altered in France, in Angers, and I managed to get a top 8 finish. So I was the best ranked Izmir player, and I played the Afanas. So
Thanks
that's
for
kind of like a
thanks
short
for
intro. Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for doing the English pronunciation of Angers there, right?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot about your fauna specifically since I've talked with Lau a little bit. He's always had good things to say about it, especially since he likes to play Akesha sometimes too, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so the event you attended, like you mentioned in France, was originally only supposed to be a 64 player side event, from what I've heard, and that obviously exceeded expectations with over 1,000 players. Um, if you can, just tell us a little bit about the experience. What was it like being there compared to other trading card events that you've been to, or if this was your first event, what was it like for you?
I mean, this was the first event where that was this large for sure. I was never in these huge tournaments. I played for some other card games, just some small local events. So, I mean, I guess it was similar to those small events. It was just a crazy amount of people. Like it's this huge like hall, and there's like tens and tens of tables, and then when you get like so you on a Google sheet, you pretty much get your pairing. So this Google sheet is being updated every match, and then you see which table you have to go to, and then there's a million people like pushing around trying to get to the tables, trying to, also the Google sheet is obviously bugging because there's a million people clicking on it and stuff. But I think it was I think it was pretty well organized, to be honest. So uh I mean, it worked well, and it was so cool to have that many people play Altered, I think, at one place.
Yeah, and I have to imagine you ran into like people that you've been talking to online in person a little bit, so I bet that was an added benefit as you're going
Yeah,
through the
yeah, I
games.
met I met actually all of these friends I've been playing with from France. First time, I mean, in real life, because I'm from Serbia, and I don't know. I mean, I know some people who play from Serbia, but obviously nobody who's been playing competitively or on a high level, you know. So I've mostly been playing and training with people who are from the United States, from France, or like Belgium, Italy, and so on.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I mean, obviously, with so many people playing in this event and Altered being, I mean, realistically a new game with the release not too far off, like a month or so ago, right? Personally, I was impressed on how well the event was run from like a viewer perspective, just like watching it on the stream. You kind of went into it a little bit already, but how was it for you as a player, and are there any updates or changes you would like to see for future events?
I mean, as a player, I think like the organization was pretty good. I don't have any like major complaints regarding I mean, pretty much like we all managed to get to our tables. We all managed to buy food, at the lunch break. We all managed to like nobody got scammed into like not finding an opponent or something. Like the only things I would change is, as you said, like they went from 64 to 1,000 people, and then they still kept it one day. So pretty much like playing 10 Swiss rounds in one day, I guess is okay. But then there's also the whole top 16 tournament later. And then instead of being, first of all, it would be nice for that many people to not have a top 16, but to have like a top 128, or like at least the top 64, I would say. Because but like having the top tournament only be top 16, you needed to have 9-1 of a score to be like certain that you're make it through. And like this is crazy that only people with 9-1 go true. I mean, it's just you can get unlucky and lose. So hopefully, if like when Equinox or someone else organizes like these big of a tournaments, I would hope to be 2 days. I mean, it's obviously going to be a hassle for everyone having to sleep somewhere if it's like in a remote place like Angers, but I think people would manage, and like having like a top 64 or top 128 would be nice. And then actually having the best of 3 games for like the top 8 or top 16 would be nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were thinking the same thing. I think they just kind of ran into the issue of this was someone else's event and they had to fit around it a little bit. But yeah, I think the
Yeah.
best of threes, and then obviously if you can widen the bracket a little bit, that would help everyone overall. But
And
yeah,
as a viewer, yeah, sorry, as a viewer, I also like I watched my game that was streamed, and I think perhaps the viewing experience should also be better because it was very hard to see all the cards, and it was very hard to see like you can't see what players have in their hands. I mean, this is obviously hard to organize. You would need a lot of cameras or something, but like hopefully for like bigger and better events, you would see like hands of both players, and you would also like see the board more clearly, So because like here it was very hard to actually see everything, and then if you don't see like one card or something, you can't really even know like who's gonna win that day or whatever, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I
So
don't think it would hurt to have like a feature table with a few more cameras, kind of like you mentioned, and then realistically, I'm sure they can also have a setup to where they have all the graphics of all the cards, including the uniques, if you guys submit deck lists, and being able to pull those up on the screen as they're played, type of thing. But
yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, because like the online tournaments, like they had a very good viewing experience. Obviously, everything's on PC. It's very easy to stream, but like you could see immediately the mana, the hands, and it made things easier. But I'm sure that this will change. Like this was probably like the first time I think it was streamed like an offline tournament. So
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, some stuff to work on, but overall, it sounds it was generally positive. And to go along with that a little bit, what were some of your favorite things about the event?
I mean, I think just playing Altered in general, like pretty much, and also like winning, obviously, and I just love playing my Afanas deck pretty much. So I guess that's it. Like doing all the combos and like outplaying people and just like playing also different decks on the road to top 16 was fun. Like you face a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So
Yeah,
I
for
would say
sure.
that.
I mean, because I believe you were one of the few people that actually went undefeated through Swiss, correct?
Yes, there was four of us. There was four of us who were undefeated, who had 8-0, and the other three players were all Waru players. So it was Neuro, Nerid, who were the two finalists who were placed 1, 2, and I can't remember what's the nickname of the third guy. I'm sorry. Sorry to him if he's watching. Like I know you're great. So three of them as Varu players and me as an Afanas were undefeated. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta imagine that felt pretty good in general. But yeah, no, that's cool to hear.
Yeah, also one thing because like they kind of move you across these tables and when you're like lower ranked you're on a higher table number or something. So like your first game they say like go to table 200 or something. And then because I was winning like every game they were moving me up, like I was like table 50, then table 20, then table 10. And then like when I was 8-0 I was like table 2, and then last game I was like table 1. So it felt like I like finished that arc, I passed that yeah, all the way. So that was cool, yeah.
Yeah, past just actually winning, being able to progress up the ladder a little bit sounds cool
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
doing an
yeah, yeah,
event,
yeah,
especially with that many players there. Had to have been a bunch of tables. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
getting into the actual competition, I mean, what was the experience like making it past all the Swiss rounds? Like you mentioned, like going up the ladder to all the tables into the top 16. I mean, were you expecting to do that well? Did you have other decks you were consider playing before the event? And what made you decide on the Afanas at the end?
Well, first of all, I was like, I mean, I was very well prepared before the event. Like, I was testing different variations of Afanas for quite a while. And I think when I created this final deck list, I was extremely happy. I felt like I can beat anything. But even though I felt it's like the best deck there is, I still knew like it's a small chance to be in the top 16 because I felt like, like one mistake, and perhaps you don't even need to make a mistake. Like you draw extremely poorly, or someone has some crazy unique, or like you just get bad matchups, or like you get beaten by a Lyra Festival, or like who knows what can happen. Like I've seen people playing like Tasia Festival. I've seen people, playing some crazy thing. Like there's 1,000 people, so you can lose to anything. So I'm very happy that's why I'm very happy I did manage to get in the top 16 because I know like a lot of players also prepared and also had great decks and obviously like lost like the second game or something. Like this can happen. So I'm very happy to have made it. And your other question was, I believe, did I consider other decks?
Yeah,
So
if you had
I,
like
I
any other decks
yeah.
that you're thinking about or anything like that.
Like maybe like a couple of weeks prior, or like I can't really remember how far prior I was considering bringing Fen because I just realized how great Fen is as a counter to Voru and how good the deck is in general. And I was tweaking and working around some Fen variations, and I was extremely happy with the deck. But then, like I kind of switched back to Afanas. I didn't have maybe enough experience playing Fen. I wasn't sure how Fen works. Like I knew the Fen Voru matchup, but like in 1,000 players, you're not just countering Voru. You need to counter everything, you know? You need to counter the Lyra festivals, you need to counter the Siggies, the Kojos, like Trace. And I felt with Afanas like I have the best possible matchup against like a random deck, right? I felt I can beat anything, and that's what I didn't feel with Fan, especially with you only kind of drawing one card and one going to resupply. So and that's the reason why. And it kind of for me, I think it was always gonna be Afanas because it's my signature deck, and I already had three crazy uniques. So I didn't really need to like find new ones or borrow some or something for the tournament. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the amount of people looking for spindle harvesters in Izmir have gone up tremendously ever since you started playing in top eight there. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, good thing there's no more auctions. But past that, yeah, I remember like watching on stream, and you actually mentioned that you felt like Afanas was a pretty good anti-meta deck, and that you could get through the Swiss fairly easily. And I think you mentioned like one or two hard matchups you had in Swiss, but for the most part, you felt pretty comfortable. So yeah, I mean, with all the top 16 deck list being released at this point, and based on your experience looking back at your matches, is there anything you think you change about your deck list? Anything that surprised you? And what was your most difficult match of the event?
I wouldn't change anything about my deck list. I mean, I kind of knew like none of the top 16. I mean, none of the Varus in top 16 really surprised me with their deck lists. It's just like standard Varu things, like you can build the deck a bit more aggressively or a bit greedier, more sleeps or more like one drops, but it's just like the usual. Then there's some crazy like charge uniques, crazy, like sleep uniques, Robin Hood uniques, etc. So nothing really surprised me there. I was surprised like that Lindive made it to top 16, that like Traced made it to top 16. I did not see either happening. I mean, previous to the tournament, I wasn't really sure what Lindive does. And I'm still not 100% sure what the hero does. Uh, so so I was, yeah, very very amazed by that. But no, I would not change anything because I kind of like, I think the deck list I made for Afanas for this meta and for this tournament, it was perfect. There was nothing that can be changed in my deck to make it better against the games I had, pretty much. So,
Yeah,
so
that makes
I
sense. I think I mean as for how far you went, and I think I mean you just ran into one too many Waru matches. It sounded like in the top eight there, but
I mean, yeah, yeah, like I knew I'm gonna run into war, but I think
yeah,
my Afanas is like the best variation of Afanas against Waru. So I kind of like made my deck be the best it can against Waru, but still keeping a great matchup versus like Siggy, Tasia, and the usual and Fen. Because I did think there's gonna be mostly Siggy on the tournament, which actually happened to be true. So
right.
so I personally think if I played Waru and I had like crazy Waru uniques and a crazy Waru deck, I probably would not have made it out of the Swiss round. So that's my thinking because I had a lot of Siggy matchups that had also great uniques, and Waru is good against Siggy, but it's not as good as Afanas versus Siggy. And I also had a Traced and a Fen and some other things. So I think Afanas kind of like, for me at least, it was surely better to bring it than Varu.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
looking at the stats that got released, it was Siggy that was the top hero, and then right after that was actually Tasia, I believe, right?
Yeah, Siggy, Tasia, and Fen were like the three of those heroes combined had over 50% over 50% of players played those three heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, so makes sense then. Um,
And those are all great matchups for Afanas, yeah.
nice.
And not so great for Voru. But when Voru gets like to the top 16, he is a menace, right? But he does need to get there.
Yeah, and there definitely were plenty of warriors that did get there. But I think second best represented what was Ysmir with the two Afanases and then the one Lindaway.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, other than that, do you have any advice to those looking to play competitively and replicate your
Sorry, you should
success?
also ask, sorry, I think I missed the question where you said your hardest game or
Oh yeah,
hardest matchup.
yeah. I thought you had mentioned that, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I want to shout out to two games. So one was like there's a hardest game I won and then a hardest game I lost. Like the hardest game I lost was, I mean, the only one I lost. Oh wait. Yeah, sorry about that. The hardest game I lost, and the only one, was against the teammate Sukoi, who I met in the top eight, who was a Waru player, and I think he played tremendously well. I think he knows Afanas like very well. So unlike a lot of the other Voru players, perhaps he really knew the matchup very well, and it's not. And he also knew me and probably mostly what I would bring, right? And also, but also he still played very well. For example, turn one, he played a tourney awake instead of asleep to win that expedition, and that actually maybe later on caused him to win the game. So it was also very well played from him. So shout out there. But it was still a pretty close game. It was like on the tip of me winning off of a small step or something. So I think just looking to that, it's sad that we met in the top eight and not like that we were on the separate side of brackets, because maybe we would have both like went further or at least met later. Yeah. And the second game, the hardest game I won, was against the Siggy player, and I think it was my second game in Swiss. So I think I was like 1-0, and then I draw six spells, and I draw six spells, and I'm first, so I just pass, and he just takes a 2-0. He even like Baba Yaga, so he even gets more cards, and then I'm like, okay, I'm coming back into the game, and then he plays a rare Robin Hood as Siggy. So he actually had two rare Robin Hoods that he played against me as Siggy, which seems very weird, but against me it was crazy strong. So I was like three expeditions down, and I thought like it's over. It's my second game. Like I lost this game. I'm gonna be 1-1. I'm gonna be like 1-2, and I'm out. And then somehow I managed to like turn it around with some crazy sleeps or something. So like unique sleeps, mage dancers, and I somehow turned it around. So like after that game, it was all way easier to the end of the Swiss. So
Did,
yeah.
didn't draw too many six spells right off the bat after that.
Yeah. Never again. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. But all right, cool. Yeah, but past that, like I was saying, did you have any advice to those like looking to play competitively and replicate your success on such a large stage? And
Yes.
past that, like, what are your future plans for Altered?
So regarding advice for competitive playing, uh, I mean, I think you should start by thinking about every possible play. So there's a lot of players who like automatically just play like you like turn one, I do this, turn two, I do this, turn three. Think about all the possible plays you can make, and then you will figure out some very strange pathways that will maybe lead you to win. So this is one thing. Think about your like every possible play. Maybe you can't do this in tournaments like Angiers where you have very limited time, but when you're like playing with your friends or like playing online, you have more time. So do that, and especially what's I think very important is to play different decks. Like play the decks of your opponents. So like I would not be able to beat Varu if I didn't know how to play Varu very well. So I pretty much like am also a good Waru player, and I played a lot of Waru, and then it's way easier for me to understand what are the weaknesses of this hero. Because like when you're playing against a hero like against Siggy or Voru, you usually think like they're unstoppable, like there's nothing I can do. You just give up on turn two, like he plays Robin Hood, like it's over. But when you're the Voru player, you like play Robin Hood, and you're like, oh my god, he's gonna go over my asleep guy. Oh my god, I don't have cards, I don't have this, and then you figure out what are the weaknesses of this deck. So I think like obviously you can't play maybe with great uniques or something, but Exalted exists where you can play with all cards, so you can train there. It's not with uniques, but you will get the feeling of decks. And also like yeah, BGA is also there. So I think like if you want to be very good competitively, you should know all the meta decks and pretty much how they're played. And the most important thing is obviously knowing your deck and thinking about all the like unorthodox ways to play, like how to uh, uh somehow win those games that aren't going the best. Yeah. So that's regarding this. And you also asked me for my future in Altered. Well, I mean, I don't have any big plans right now. I plan to play Altered more, and I plan to pretty much when there's a big tournament that I can attend. Like I came from France, from Serbia to France for this one, so it wasn't a like close trip to attend at Angers. So I mean I can't do this every weekend, obviously, but when there's another huge tournament like this, maybe I will come. I heard there's gonna be something like in February in Italy. I mean, there's one in the United States in Phoenix, right in November. I won't be going there, so maybe it's gonna be easier for the oldest people in that tournament. So whoever's playing Siggy in Arizona, you're safe. I'm not coming, you know. So so that's regarding that. Yeah, so I also yeah, I plan to play as much as I can. I hope there will be a larger community of players in Serbia, and I hope Equinox will start like hosting official tournaments maybe after the next expansion. So I hope to be attending those. And I hope there's gonna be great prizes also.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I know they've mentioned on a few different occasions that they're going to start pushing things a little bit more as far as the official events, and then also hopefully for our benefit in North America, getting some more promotion so that way it gets as big as it is over there in EMEA type of thing, right? So, but yeah, I mean, other than that, that's all the questions I had for you. Did you have any last thoughts or shout outs that you wanted to make?
I guess shout out to my team, to all my friends from the team and also not from the team who supported me on the tournament. Shout out to Kieran. Shout out to my friends from Serbia who came to France with me. So shout out to people from Italy, Vittorio and his friends who came there. So yeah, shout out to Izork. I think I mentioned him as well. And uh, uh, I guess I guess that's it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks again for your time, and hopefully get to see you soon on another stream in the top 8, top 16, and maybe in the finals.
Yeah, I hope. I mean, next time it has to be at least top four. You know, that's
Always get better,
like
right?
yeah, always get better. At least a bit. You know. So yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Thanks.